Let's get ready to rumble.
Yes, we're back to episode 132 of the Hibs Ramble. It's me, your host, as always, Liam, and I'm joined by, for the first time this season, the lovely Mr. Shaun Corrigan. How are we, mate?
Yes, you are, and I am fantastic, mate. I'm fantastic.
Well, you're looking
jealous and got huge FOMO from the other week there, or last week, but apart from that, I'm fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. I'm still recovering a little bit from the shenanigans over in Denmark, so it was a very good trip, a very worthwhile trip, a very expensive trip, but all worth it to come back with a point to taking it in the home leg.
Hopefully,
A couple of your mates were over there.
I quite a few, to be fair. So there was videos and photos getting put in the chat. The McGinns were all over.
Yeah, I seen the McGinns.
Fantastic. It was good to see it. Most importantly, they all managed to be at the game as well, which was great.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
And a few others that kind of go home and away all the time. Loads and loads of good boys. So it was good to see. Obviously, I wanted them to have a fantastic trip, but not too fantastic because I wasn't there.
Well, I'll tell you what, my trip for one would have been made a lot better if you were there, Shaun.
So
if you were stood next to me for the whole trip, I would have looked a lot uglier. But I mean, I can deal with that.
You were caught on camera quite a few times as well.
I was caught on camera so many times. That was no mistake, though. That was absolutely no mistake. I seen the cameras coming, and I got myself front and centre.
Yeah, Gav looked like he was absolutely petrified when you grabbed them.
Yeah, Gav wasn't happy. Or maybe he was happy. I think he was happy to see me, but I don't think he was happy to see me as inebriated as I was. And then when I said 8-0 Hibs, I'm not too sure he was very chuffed with that, because the first thing he said was that might come back to bite you.
Yeah, you ruined it.
Everyone going, 2-1, 1-1, something like that. 8-0 Hibs, no problemo. But no, it was a good trip overall. Yeah, seen a lot of folk over there that we knew. I saw John over there. Spent a bit of time with John.
What did he have for dinner pre-match?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I know. John, you'll need to let us know.
But he was repping his Leaf 7 bucket hat, which is
hats?
Very nice. And we've also got more bucket hats coming, John, don't we?
We do.
Tell us about them.
It is basically the exact same as this belter, but instead of this badge, it is... Will this work?
This badge?
That badge.
No, I can't see it, but it's this badge I've got on my telly. On my telly or my t-shirt?
So basically, for those that are audio listeners only, green and white bucket hat, green lid, white, and then green around the rim, and then the Saturn Hibs badge, but the Leaf 7 Saturn Hibs badge. Mm-hmm. So they are due for arrival very, very soon. Very,
in the next
very
couple
limited
of days.
stock. Yeah, this time. I'm hoping that it arrives before Thursday so we can get some of them to the people that are desperate for them, which would be great. If not, I'm absolutely praying we can get them for the next round, wherever we may be.
Exactly. So usually we do all of our Leaf 7 stuff on hibsramble.com, but because we're tramps and we don't pay for the big cartel to do different sort of things on the website, we can't do stock control. So like Shaun says, we've got a very, very limited supply of these hats. So if you are interested in one, give the page a message, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever. And if we've got some, we'll sort you out. And Shaun will sort you out.
Importantly, if you live locally, you might get a visit from me with the bucket hat.
That might turn folk off, mate.
Well, then they can just pay for postage.
Right, we talk about the game.
I just want to... we may as well talk about the whole trip, mate, as well as the game.
The trip was good.
More want to know about the trip rather than the game.
Well, mate, the trip was class, right? And I'm so glad that we didn't... So we had flights straight from Edinburgh to Copenhagen, and then you get on the train at Copenhagen and it's like a 3-hour a 3 hour train and then or a 2 hour train, and then you change, and then it's another 1 hour train. So it was a bit of a journey to get there, but not as much as other people. There was folk that were going from Edinburgh to London to Frankfurt to wherever, and loads of different places. Magical mystery tour. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't have to do that, and especially on the way home, I'm glad that we had the most direct route possible because um, I was in a
In a
deep
bad way.
pit of depression on the way home. But mate, all in all, the trip was amazing. The weather was incredible, even though it wasn't meant to be. And with all the Hibs fans that were there and all the booze that was drank, I didn't see a lick of trouble. Which is, I've never been on one of these trips before, so I don't know if you get very much Hibs on Hibs action when everyone's
Nah,
boozed up. But there was
nah.
there was absolutely no trouble at all.
Every trip I've been away, there's never been some cabbage on cabbage action. It's all been a loving, to be fair.
Well, it's good to hear that. And I'll probably won't be able to make any of the other European trips that we get for the remainder of the season. But I just said that I wanted to go on one, and Midtjylland was too big a tie really to turn down, and it was good. And the Danish people on the whole are all very nice. I met a lot of Midtjylland fans who were fairly sound, if not a shade arrogant. So thanks to them for welcoming us in and serving us all drink. Actually, see in the pub that we were in on Thursday after the game, they ran out of draft beer.
That seems
That's
to
bad.
happen. That seems to happen wherever Hibs go. To be fair,
That's bad though.
see, obviously we had what 1,100 tickets sold. Was it evident that we had more than that over there? Like when you
Oh
were
mate,
getting
yeah.
ready to travel to the game, was there still hundreds kicking about, just still dicking about in bars?
Well, there was evident that there was more Hibs fans at the game than the 1,100 that had been sold, because there
Right.
was a massive section of the home end. There was maybe like I don't know, like 200 odd seats, maybe 250 seats of the home end, right next to the away section, that was just Hibs fans. And
Yeah, I've
then,
seen that. Yeah,
so like from where I was sitting more on the opposite side of that, and I was like on the long stand as you're watching it on the telly, the one that the camera's facing. There was a couple of Hibs fans dotted in and around that corner as well. So it was good. But I'm not too sure if there was lots of people that never got tickets that didn't go to the game,
yeah,
if you know what I mean.
yeah.
But yeah, it was absolutely ramble.
See how?
And the fact that all the pubs were in such close proximity to each other, and it was quite
Yeah.
a narrow and tight street, that it maybe seemed a bit more packed than it actually was.
See how you mentioned that some of the Midtjylland I said Midtjylland there, Midtjylland
Yeah.
fans were a shade arrogant. What was the mood like from a Hibs perspective? Because when we go away on European trips, it's normally just we're here for a good time, not necessarily the result. There's no really shady arrogance, but then as more beer gets drunk, the more optimistic people seem to get. Was there a shade of that over there as well?
I think people. I mean, you get pessimists and optimists all the time, don't you? For my sins, I'm usually a fairly big optimist, and I was confident that we would get a result. But there was a lot of Hibs fans who were not overly confident, but I don't think that. I mean, especially as the day wore on and everyone was getting more and more bevied, I don't think anyone really thought that we were going to be in for a proper doing. Um, I know Midtjylland are a big team and they've got good players, but we kind of viewed it as, they're not unbeatable. They're not Aston Villa, they're not Barcelona. So there was no reason that we couldn't go there and come back with a result. And the players, and after everything that had been said in the media from their end, I think it just gave us extra motivation to go out there and come
Right.
back
Well,
with something.
let me get down to the nitty gritty question that I don't doesn't really matter if anyone else cares about the answer to this, but I certainly do. Where do those limbs rank for you?
It's difficult. It's difficult. The Boyle disallowed goal limbs were better
Right.
because the goals at the opposite end to us,
Yeah.
no one knows what's happened. It takes about 5 or 6 seconds to realise that the referee's given a goal because the players all just start running back to us. But once we realise, it's insanity. It's absolute insanity, and like it was all safe standing. So but the chairs were in like a fixed outright position instead of like snapping up and down.
Yeah.
So folk were falling over that. They were falling over the railings. It was great limbs. But the Boyle disallowed one was even better. Probably because it was to go 2-0 up, and it was a wee bit later in the first half. You can sometimes celebrate and think this is maybe a bit early, but it was incredible. And the atmosphere, like the whole time, the whole game, the Hibs fans didn't let up. I don't know how loud it sounded on the telly from where you were watching it, but
It did certainly sound like it was more us at all time, but that's probably because we can make out the Hibs away chant
yeah,
more than anything else. That's
it's been
obviously
ringing
not
in my
popular.
head.
I've had that song on repeat for
I had
about a
Mila
week
singing it
week and a
yesterday.
half, which is great. How was the so like watching the game? Right, well, obviously we'll not spend too much time on the game because it's been a good few days since then now. But see, watching it, I never really felt that we were threatened too much, especially in that first half. Like at the end of the first half, we had more shots on target and more shots than them. Obviously, we had the disallowed goal, which, in fairness, Martin Boyle with his pace probably doesn't need to get caught off, but it is very
I think
very
he's,
tight.
I think he's just off. You know
Ah,
what I
he
mean?
is.
So
He is. It's the right decision. So what was the mood like in the stadium? Because I can imagine when you're playing a side which are deemed to be far superior than you, talking like a lower end Champions League side, higher end Europa League side, you're probably sitting in that stand fearing for most of that game. Did it feel like that at the time?
um, not really, to be honest, because I felt like we defended so well. And the times that they came up our end in the first half, it just felt like we dealt with it every single time. And the standout performers for me in that first half were Chris Cadden and Jordan Abita, because I felt that the way that they then transitioned from defence to attack, and we weren't doing an awful lot of attacking. Like let's be serious here, because they did have an awful lot of the ball for both the first half and the second half. But the way that we got back into shape and we were so disciplined and organised and drilled, it kind of filled us all with confidence as well, because you can see that they were all talking to each other, they were all helping each other through the game, and you can kind of get a sense of Midtjylland were a wee bit short on ideas. It was pop shots for range, or it was only balls into the box from set pieces and stuff. So I didn't really feel at any point that we were under serious trouble. And like I don't think anyone really thought, oh, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. When they do score, I mean, at the end of the game, it probably deserves to be a draw, and they do score, and it's a draw.
Yeah.
But even for the second half as well, mate, I didn't think that you have a lot of the ball, but if you do fuck all with it, then there's no really any point. And when they did do stuff with it, we booted it out the box, or Jordan Smith made an incredible save, and we just found a way to get through, which I don't think Hibs teams of the past maybe would have been able to do.
How delighted were you that Smith was starting in goals, considering
Yeah,
his level of performance last season and kind of got us into that position? And at the game last week, he made a lot of crucial saves as well.
it was a bit. It was kind of a big conversation between Hibs fans when we were over there, and it was, well, you spend 300 grand on a new goalkeeper, give him the one jersey, and if you don't play him for the first competitive game, does that maybe send a bit of a message? But at the same time, Jordan Smith's not done anything to get dropped. Just because you sign a new goalkeeper because we needed one doesn't mean that he gets to jump straight into the team. I was expecting Smith to start, and I was happy that Smith started. I probably would have gone with that lineup, to be honest with you. I did think at the time when the lineup was announced we were missing a Nectar Triantis type of player in that middle of the park. But I feel as the game went on, and when I look back at it now, and I look back at the highlights and stuff, that I'm not too sure if a player like Nectar Triantis or someone in that sort of mould, in that sort of sitting position, would have actually thrived in that game, to be honest, because, Dylan Levitt was doing a lot of the work on transition and going forward, and I thought Mulligan was really good as well. McGrath, obviously, in a bit of a more advanced role. And I'm not saying, we don't need them, because I think we do need them, and I would really like them to come back, but I don't think we particularly missed them all that much on Thursday. That'll come back to bite me, though, no doubt.
Yeah. Before we move on to Thursday and discuss that, what was the best and the worst moment of your trip? And was there any scran available at the game?
There was scran at the game. There was no bevy, though, which was a shame. They were selling non-alcoholic beer, which is, I don't really see the point. But the scran was good. It's mostly hot dogs over there, to be honest, mate. I was searching high and low for a kebab. I couldn't find one anywhere. I was gutted. But the scran at the game, I got like an extra large hot dog, and it was fucking huge, right? It was like girthy, super girthy, and it was dead long and all. Kind of looked a bit like my chopper. If it was on steroids.
With a few extensions.
And it just came like a massive fucking... It came in this like wee cardboard tray, and they just put so much sauce in it, and it was impossible to eat, but it was so good. And that was good. But best part and worst part, so after the game, we were coming back, and Mark had ordered a taxi on Uber to take us back into the town, because it was like a 45-minute walk or like a 10-minute taxi or something. So he ordered this taxi, and it came up on his Uber app as if it was around the corner. So we'll just go around and meet it, because it was a big line of traffic. So found the taxi, we got there, and there was guys already sitting in it. And Mark went fucking mental. He was like, "You've already accepted the fucking job." And he was steaming and I was like, "Sound, we'll get another taxi, it's fine." And Mark keeps going, "I'm going to write to Uber in the morning. This is a joke. What kind of precedent is it saying? That's awful, man, that's awful." So that was probably his worst moment, but maybe one of my best moments, because it was just so funny. I don't think there was a worst moment. I think the whole thing was really, really good, and I'm delighted that I went.
How do you see us setting up for Thursday? Because you mentioned Cadden and Obita were by far and away the better players. Jordan Smith made some crucial saves as well. Do you see it being a similar lineup?
I think so, to be honest.
Being any changes?
I think so. I think that if there's any changes, and I'd be loath to make it, to be honest, but you will maybe see Nicky Cadden in for Obita, just if we want to get on the front foot a little bit more. And we might see Junior Hoylett start, maybe. But I don't know who I would bring Junior Hoylett in for, because I certainly wouldn't drop McGrath or Levitt. And I don't think he can play the deeper role that Mulligan was in. So, he might make a couple of changes and prove me wrong, but if it's the same team, then I honestly wouldn't really be that bothered. I wouldn't be calling out for changes to be made. So
I'd like to think that Nicky Cadden will be starting purely for that, to give us more of an attacking threat, because obviously we're at home.
That's the only one that I can really think of that might be like a cert, or as close to a cert as you can get.
Yeah, I think that'll give us more of an attacking threat, and then if we do need it, that's when you can bring on any more attacking players, or even like Josh Campbell or something like that as well. Do you know what I mean? Because the bench looked good last week.
The bench was so strong, by the way. It was really strong,
So
and it kind of
it gives us that threat as well, where if things don't go our way on Thursday, or even if they are, we can change it up both attacking and defensively. But for me, I think the only change that would need to happen would be Nicky Cadden. And then obviously, if we are in a good position come the 70th minute or 80th minute, that's when, Jordan can come on.
just shore it up a wee bit.
Aye.
I mean, they give you something. I mean, Jordan Abita's great going forward as well, but he gives you more defensively than Cadden does, and Cadden gives you more offensively than Jordan Abita does.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I would hope that from the start we go right after them, because the last thing that we can do is concede an early goal.
Yeah.
And
Whereas if we are the ones that score an early goal, the roof will come off.
yeah, well, it's a cellar, isn't it? And Midtjylland have only got the tiny section in the bottom corner of the south, and we've even got the ones that are above.
Yeah.
And just like the rest of the stadium, so it's going to be absolutely rocking, especially if we score.
It's going to be like 19,000 or 19,250 Hibs fans or something like that. So
yeah,
we need to start strong. We need to get an early goal, or even like a crunching tackle or a couple of good chances early on.
I do think that this side, instead of being scared or spooked by playing in front of a full house at Easter Road, thrive under it. I mean, think of Rangers last season, the 2-2, the game against Hearts, game against Celtic, even the 1-1 against Hearts. I thought we were really good as well. So they know what they've got to do, and they know that they're going to have the back in the four stands.
We've not lost a competitive home game since like November or something like that.
Yeah, so, well, that's all lining up for a loss on Thursday then, isn't
it? Yeah, probably. But we'll
think
see.
We'll go through?
I'm more hopeful of going through.
I think we will. I think genuinely, and I'm taking my silly hat off here, and my 8-0 Hibs hat off. I really do think that we will go through. I think it'll be tough, really tough, and I think it'll be very close. But I think because we've got them at home, and we'll have, like you said, 19,000 odd Hibs fans to back us, all four stands, I think we'll end up going through. I really do.
Yeah. From a selfish perspective, I obviously want us to go through, because that is the more likely tie that I'll be able to go to. Because if we don't, I ain't going to any of that. I ain't going to whatever team that we're going to get through to. Obviously, that's yet to be decided. But
it looks like it's going to be Partizan Belgrade. They're 2-0 up from the first leg.
Whereas if we get through, it's basically a trip to Oslo, which is manageable and doable potentially to an extent. So, from a selfish perspective, I hope we go through for that. But all things, and like previously Hibs sides would have crumbled under this pressure, like you said. But this side seemed to have a little bit more about them. So I'm quietly confident that we can do something. I think it'll be a very, very tight game and a very, very close game. I don't think it'll be like the Luzerne game at home.
No.
In any way.
Do you think the fact that they're playing today is going to have a positive impact?
I think that'll have a major part, regardless of the side that they play. I'm quite intrigued to see the side that lines up for them today.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
the one that played Thursday.
I think this is the late game in Denmark this weekend. Oh, well, obviously it's Monday. But Copenhagen have got 2 wins from 2. And if Midtjylland don't win this, then they'll have, at best, 2 points out of a possible 6. And then you're already 4 points behind and having to make it up. So I don't think they can really afford to lose this game.
Yeah, the only thing is they're at home. So that's a frustration from them. I don't actually know how good the side are.
They finished 8th. Sorry, 8th in the Superliga last season. Sonder Jyske, I think it's called.
But I'm aware from like last season, that their head-to-heads were always quite close. Like I think their last 4 games have all been like 3-2s and 2-2s. So it'll definitely be a tough game for them, and that's why I'm hoping that because of that, they'll put out a relatively strong side.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm more intrigued as to comparing the two sides, as in Thursday and tonight's, to give
Yeah.
us maybe a good
Well, I mean,
indication.
I'll probably have a wee look myself and see if I can get it
Yeah.
watched and
Whereas
do my wee scouting
we played
mission.
East Kilbride in a closed doors match yesterday, but you would like to think that almost every single player that started that game won't be starting on Thursday.
Yeah,
Yes, some of
yeah, I
them might.
think you'd like
A
to think
few of
that
them,
it's maybe just the
yeah,
bench and
a few of them will definitely feature, like potentially Manny, Campbell, stuff like that as well. Um, but yeah, I can't imagine any of our starters or potential starters would have been anywhere near that starting 11. I didn't see the full squad for that game though.
do you know what the score was?
Yeah, I think we won 3-1. We definitely won. I'm going to check actually.
Well, that's all right then. It's good that
Yeah,
we won.
or was it
But yeah,
5-1? Something like that.
it's going to be a really good spectacle on Thursday, regardless of what happens tonight. I think it's mental that they're playing tonight
5-2.
and won't be able to travel until probably tomorrow, maybe even
Yeah.
Wednesday.
I don't think they would actually travel until Wednesday anyway, because we didn't travel until the day before, I don't think. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Still, it seems odd, doesn't it, that they've given them a game on the Monday. Just gives them
Yeah,
a day less to prepare because as soon as the final whistle went on Thursday, our full focus would then have been on Midtjylland next week,
yeah,
whereas they would need to have full focus on today's game and then focus on Hibs again.
yeah,
And I think it gives us another leg up because it's another game that we can look at and analyse. And if they are using players that they didn't use on Thursday that might be in the squad, it's a good chance for David Gray and the coaching staff to have a good look at them and see what kind of threats that they're going to bring.
yeah. No, I completely agree.
But yeah, no, are you going on Thursday?
No, can't make it.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
Shaun.
commitments, scheduling, planning.
Shaun. You might be able to watch it on the telly though, right?
I'm hopeful that I will not need to leave the house.
Oh well.
Is all I'm saying.
Fingers crossed, dude. Fingers crossed. Will we have a wee chat about the league season ahead then, since you weren't on last week when me and Craig were having a brief discussion about it? I feel like you've got something up your sleeve, something planned to talk to me about here.
Yeah, not too in depth. More from a prediction perspective. I've got Mark's predictions and I've got Craig's as well. So what we'll do is just a slight prediction for the season ahead, and Rory Jennings will be devastated, but we're also going to rate the home strips while I'm wearing a home strip. So
Oh
get it right
mate,
up now.
this guy's done my fucking tits in the last couple of days.
I don't interact with any of it as well because he's a
I was kind of
fucking
coming
moron.
round to the fact. I was kind of coming round because I heard him on the radio a few times. I was kind of coming round to him and thinking, is he actually that bad? Maybe he's talking a little bit of sense. And then he comes out with stuff like, "Oh, what are you doing playing fancy dress, going to the football?" And I'm like, just fucking have a bit of fun.
Well, he's
Just
like 42-year-old as well.
no
Like,
one's going. No one's going to the football, right? Wearing a Hibs top, thinking if I wear a Hibs top, I might get on if there's an injury. No one thinks that. You know what I mean? So why?
yeah,
Fuck him.
you're right. So we will get league position prediction, Scottish Cup, League Cup, Player of the Year, surprise package prediction, and then a rating out of 10 of the 3 home strips. And for those pestering the Hibs admin, every time we release a strip, there are potentially another 2, both anniversary related strips coming out.
2.
Yeah, potentially. That's the rumour anyway, that we're having a totally 5. One that we wear during a game, and one that is commemorative. Is that the word? Commemorative.
Yeah.
Probably to be released on the exact date of our anniversary. I'm assuming. So the people that are abusing the Hibs admin can fucking chill out a wee bit.
Well, they did say that we are getting another strip.
Aye, exactly.
At least one.
Yeah, I thought that would have been common sense, to be fair, but here we are. Liam,
Yes.
where do you see us finishing the season?
Well, obviously, Hearts are going to win the league.
Yeah, of course.
So we're going to need to then be behind Rangers and Celtic. To be honest, I'd be delighted if we got top 4. I think obviously we should be aiming for third again. It's going to change dramatically should we get into league phase Europe. And I think the expectations would probably need to be lowered a shade because of the vast amount of games. But I don't think Aberdeen will be that much of a shout this year because of their commitments to Europe. Regardless of how many players Hearts signed from Serie C and Serie D, I don't think they're going to be too much of a threat either. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that we'll get third. But if we finish 4th, I'd be happy with that as well.
As did Mark. Mark said the same, finishing third. Myself and Craig are going with 4th. This will probably come back to bite me in the arse, but I don't think a David Gray side has the ability to finish 6th or below.
Mate, the thing is, right, and like when you think about it like this, and especially since the European qualification thing came in, where third, if first or second wins a cup, gets league phase European football. It doesn't, like the team that then finishes third the season before always has a nuke the season after because he can't deal with the demand of games. Whereas, I mean, if we get to the league phase, that'd be amazing. But if we don't, then we're not going to have that strain and we'll be able to focus fully on the league.
Well, the thing is, if we don't, that means that we'll be knocked out early. And if you think about how bad we started the season last year, however many games it was, like 12 games in, we dropped 14 points or something ridiculous like that for winning positions. So if we kind of look at that, that was already giving us an indication of what this side can do.
Yeah.
So if we can tighten up, which is clearly what we've done, and perform at a higher level, and David Gray's been able to implement the style that he wants to implement, as well as the formation as well, then I don't see why we can't continue that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, we'll have a couple of dips and we'll maybe lose 3 or 4 on a bounce or whatever. But I think if the principles remain the same from last season, which I think they did throughout the whole season, we just tweaked a couple of things and things went in our way. I think if we can have a little bit more like that and a wee bit rubby the green like we did last season, I think.
And we've got the momentum coming off the back of last season as well.
Yeah.
And we know we can do it. And the belief's there, and that's kind of half the job, isn't it? So,
what about Scottish Cup and League Cup? Because obviously I'm going to say we're going to win the League Cup like I do every year.
I don't know. It's one of these. It's so difficult to predict the cup competitions before the season starts, and if I say anything less than us winning both cups, then I'll feel disappointed in myself. I think we'll get to Hampden in one of them at least, if not both. I think we'll get to a semi-final at least. But I think if we do get to a semi-final, we will win a competition. I think we'll win a cup, but I'm not going to put my limb out and say one or the other at the moment.
Mark seems confident that we'll get to the semi-final at both. Craig, semi-final for the Scottish Cup and quarter-final for the League Cup. I naturally think we'll win the League Cup.
It depends how long we can avoid Celtic for, and if anyone else can knock them out.
Yeah. Whereas I think we will get knocked out the Scottish at the quarters against an old
Celtic
firm
away.
side. Yeah. Yeah. Who's your early season prediction for Player of the Year? Mark and Craig have both said Martin Boyle and what will be his final year for the club.
I think it'd be difficult to say at the moment anyone other than Martin Boyle. I do think McGrath's looked really good since he's come in as well. I like the look of him. I like the look of Mulligan. But yeah, I think Martin Boyle again is going to be our focal point going forward, and he's going to score the most goals, and that usually correlates to being Player of the Year. So I'll go boring, and I'll also say Martin Boyle.
I'm going to give it to Nicky Cadden. I think if we have a successful season going forward, and like you said, Martin Boyle scores the goals again this season. I thought Kieran Bowie might be in with a shout, but I think he'll do a lot more doggy work than anything else.
Yeah.
Which can obviously take you out of the limelight. But I think a lot of our assists or creation, maybe a couple of free kick goals, I think will come through Nicky Cadden. And if he can remain fit, I would think it would be him. So that's my shout. What about a potential surprise package?
Let me think here.
Craig's went for Manny, and Mark has went for Megwa, which obviously I'm on board with, considering I'm the founder of the Megwa.
I'd love for it to be Megwa, but I've just got a feeling that he'll probably go back out on loan again. I just think the safer option is probably to say Manny, isn't it? Or maybe Salinger. Maybe Salinger, Jordan Smith will get injured, and Salinger will come in and be Jordan Smith of last season. Who knows? But I'll say Manny, because I have liked the look of what I've seen from him so far. He's taken 6 months to get himself kind of embedded into Scottish football. So fingers crossed he kind of kicks on for there.
Yeah, I'm going to say, and this is more of a surprise for me. I'm going to say Dylan Levitt, who since he's joined the club obviously hasn't played anywhere near as much as he probably would have, but certainly has recently, and has found himself in the squad and in the starting 11 more, and especially with it increasingly looking like we're not getting Trientis back. I think that's kind of where, with Mulligan in there as well, we could find a balance of Dylan Levitt and then obviously McGrath keeping like players like Joe Newell or maybe even Manny out the side. I would like Manny to have a fantastic season, but yeah, for me, I think it could be, for me personally, I know loads of people rate Dylan Levitt very highly, and so do I, but he's not quite hit those heights for me as in a Hibs shirt, whereas I think...
Not quite, but he showed a lot of glimmers of it last
correct.
season.
Yeah, correct. And I would want that to be more consistent, and I think if that's the case, then I think we'll have had a very good
I think it probably will, to be honest, this year, because Gray clearly likes him.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if when Gray first got the job, Gray was maybe too sure on Levitt. And obviously there was a couple of bits of chat in January about him maybe leaving the club or leaving the club in the summer. But I feel like that ship has well and truly sailed now that he's been given the chance, and he's kind of grabbed it. So I'm here for Dylan Levitt having a good year. I'll tell you that for free.
Right. What about the 3 strips that we've released so far? What is your take / score out of 10? Marks and Craig have rated the home strip as a 6. I've rated it a 5. Mark's rated the away as a 6, and Craig was a 4. As for the third strip, which is probably the hardest out of the 3 to rate because we won't have seen it in person yet, and you can't really tell from the pictures because it's like a blackout photo shoot.
Yeah.
But, Mark's went a 7.5, and Craig's went a 6.
I must admit, after seeing it being played and worn on the park, I'm a much bigger fan of it because it's so much more difficult to tell that there's a sponsor on it. It's only when you get closer to it you realise that there's a sponsor. So when you're in the stand, it looks like it's just the Joma and the Hibs badge, which I think is obviously what they were going for. The only thing I don't like about it is that the badge is smaller because of the circle around it that says 1875 to 2025. And I get why they put it there. I mean, I understand. But I feel like they could have just made the badge the normal size and then put a bigger circle around it. But it's definitely grown on me, and I think I'd probably give the home one an 8. I like it. I really like it. The thick collar, the thick cuffs around the sleeves, the fact that you can actually get it in long sleeves as well, I think is pretty cool. The away one, I'm a sucker for a yellow kit, Shaun, you know this, but we've had so many good yellow kits, and I don't think this is one of them. I don't think it is. I think it's fine. I would have liked to have had maybe a little bit of a more imaginative, a bit more creativity, given it's our 150th away kit, and you know it's away kits we usually get something a little bit crazy, considering that we had a fairly plain one last year in the white one. But yeah, it's just a little bit of a disappointment, but it gets a good score from me because it's yellow and I like yellow.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a 6 out of 10. And then the third one, I like it. I like black and green pinstripes. I think it's quite smart. Again, probably going to need to reserve judgment until I see it in person properly. But I feel like it will kind of have the same sort of on-field vibe where the sponsor is quite difficult to tell that it's there. So I think for that reason, Shaun, I'll also give it. No, actually, I'm not going to rate it as high as the home. I'll give it a 7.5.
Yeah, everyone knows that I am not a fan of the Bevy sponsor whatsoever. I think if it was just the write-in Bevy, or if it was just the circle, or just the QR code within the circle.
You know what it is? It's the
think
fact that it says Bevy, and then on another line it says .com.
Yeah.
If it just had bevy.com on the one line, and maybe the circle, like the logo, smaller, like next to it, then it'd be fine.
Yeah,
It's just
for
that
me
it's too big.
The home is a 5 purely because it's. I know we're getting an anniversary kit, but it's our anniversary home kit. I would have liked for this. Obviously, the sponsor was going to be on it, and I know they've tried to fade it out, and they've done a really good job of it. But I think if the sponsor was the same colour as the kit, just the exact same colour, I think that probably would have blended it in more.
Like in a blackout kit.
Yeah, from a
I mean, that's maybe what we'll
perspective.
see in the anniversary one.
Yeah.
Like one
I
that's
think from a
more
sponsor's
kind
perspective,
of
you want
blended
it to
in.
be seen, which is why it's got the effect that it's got. I think when I see it more in person, I think it will probably increase throughout the year, and I'll definitely get it because of what it is. And then I think for me,
Someone at
the
your door there,
yellow
Shaun.
one, yeah, I know. I think the yellow one had the potential to be fantastic, but it looks absolutely abysmal. It looks like it's just been taken off a shelf in Turkey.
There was
The
a lot of people
fabric
that
of
were
the
wearing
shirt,
it over
yeah,
in
the
Denmark,
fabric of
but
the shirt looks very thin. And the fabric of the shirt, I've not seen it in person or felt the fabric in person, but it reminded me of, I think it was. Do you know what reminded me the fabric of, right? And the people that have
what?
got it will remember. Um, this one, where is it? Let me find it. That one, if you can see it, the fabric.
You've
on that
actually
one.
frozen on my screen, so I can't see it.
Oh, brilliant!
So before we were rudely interrupted by Shaun's terrible Wi-Fi, he was telling us that the fabric in this year's away kit reminds him of a certain kit, and because he froze, I don't know what kit it was. So if you're watching on YouTube, it is that strip, that horrible
That one.
strip.
2004, 2005, we had that, and we had a white version of it as well. So for those that remember it, it was felt like a very thin material that could rip quite
Felt
easily.
like a work shirt or something.
Kind of. So yeah, so the yellow one is the yellow one's a 3 for me until I see it up close and personal. Based on that,
Yeah, I mean it's okay in person, but
mate, I think they could have done so
you know
much
there's
more
so
with it,
much
either like
better.
a pattern or like a, I don't know, like
Yeah,
a
there's nothing.
just a funky pattern in it. I am a big fan, however, of the third one. I I loved the
Yeah.
outrage of the leaked photo, because it was clear that people were going to like it, and it was so clear who was colourblind based on what people thought of that. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the third one. I do think that the pinstripes could have been thicker, very similar to the Celtic black and green one the other year. And they've tried to do a similar thing with a sponsor, which I get, and on a black kit it will probably work better. So yeah, so I'm giving the third one a 7.5, maybe an 8 once I see it.
Oh,
But it'll never be
that's
the
high
black
praise coming from
and
you,
the
Sean.
mint. Yeah, it'll never be the black and the mint.
No,
that
that
we had.
was that's the goat. That's the goat black strip.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, before
Um,
we wrap up, will we answer some listener questions?
yes, we shall.
Now it's time to answer the Hibs Ramble listener questions.
First off, as always, John McIntosh says, "Good to see you, brother. What's for dinner?"
I think I'm having tacos. Could be wrong.
Oh,
I'll find out at 7 o'clock.
tacos sounds good. I don't know what I'm having yet because we've just got a big food shop in and we've got a variety of options and I don't know the dates on anything yet. So I'm going to have a wee look in the fridge and decide then. But it could be chicken wraps. It could be mince and tatties. It could be Nando's chicken.
Oh,
Could be a variety of different things, Sean. John also says, how do you rate our chances of getting to group stage football? For me, if we beat this lot this Thursday, we're looking pretty good for it. I think, ideally, to get through Midtjylland on Thursday gives us our best chance because we take their seed.
yeah,
And I'm not too sure if we beat Fredrikstad. I'm not too sure if we beat Fredrikstad in the next round, if we get through Midtjylland, if we still take the seed. I'm not sure. But it would be nice if that was
I
the
think
case.
that
And I
would be.
think the best way that
I'm just going to hazard a guess and say that if we were to get through and then beat them, because I think that makes it, that's then the playoff, I would be very, very surprised if we would, by some miracle, then be in the playoff seeded.
well, would we not just carry the seed through though?
I don't know how the seeding works. To be fair, I'm just because the
I'll look it up and I'll try and find out. But
the amount
I do think that our best chance is to
well-represented
get through this
sides,
Thursday.
the amount of well represented European sides that will be in the playoff will have a higher coefficient point than us, would then make us probably unseeded, would be my guess.
And at the end of the day, if we get there to the Europa League playoff round, then regardless if we're seeded or unseeded, whether we win or lose, we're getting league phase football anyway. So we just need to make sure that we're there in some capacity.
Correct.
Next up, Billy says, what would be your perfect design for the 150th anniversary kit?
Obviously, green and white hoops to rattle every single person
Yeah, I
that
want hoops as
ever
well.
lived. With the HFC.
I just want
in
a
the middle.
recreation of the hoops with the HFC.
Yeah,
That's all I
think
want.
the club might even cop out of doing, because technically that wasn't the first one that we wore. The first one was just the white one with the big harp badge. And I tell you what, if we release potentially 5 kits this season and we do not have an alternative badge, I will be fizzing, because Joma are doing alternative badges with every single club and we are yet to do
I know.
one. Give me an alternative badge.
I know. I like the alternative badge trend at the moment. I really do like it.
Yeah.
And I think
would
we
be really,
deserve
really
it.
frustrated if we do not get it. But the thing is, like,
Paul Mackay asks,
our first one was all white with like a black badge with a harp on it. And I would just be annoyed if we got that, because then you'd get Hearts fans piping up and being like, oh, you've just copied ours but chuck a harp on it instead of a heart. So give us the green hoops.
give us the hoops. Paul Mackay asks, what do you think the chances are on Thursday? And if you were David Gray, what changes would you make? For me, Nicky Cadden for a beater, like we said. However, it would seem a bit harsh. And would Clegy for Bowie seem harsh as well? I don't think we'll see Clegy start, to be honest. I think we need the physicality of Kieran Bowie. We saw it so many times last season when...
Against East Kilbride, so I can't see him starting.
Who, Clegy?
Yeah.
I think it will be Bowie, and I think it should be Bowie because the physicality, I think, certainly in the opening stages, will be much more important. And if Clegy comes on, I think he'll come on with half an hour, 20 to go, something like that.
I think he'll start against Dundee, though.
Who, Clegy?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Colin McLennan asks, how many beers did Liam and Mark have between them on the trip? I don't know. Quite a lot.
How many days?
It was a bad few days to be at Carlsberg.
How many days?
So Wednesday full day, Thursday full day, and then I didn't drink on the Friday because we were coming home and I had to drive.
I reckon if you didn't hit at least 70 combined over the whole trip, I think it's a disgrace.
I think it probably would have been there or thereabouts, including cans as well.
Yeah.
So I would take that. 35 each over 2 days? Yeah.
Doable.
Easy enough. Gav Dick says, should I be booking my flights to Oslo? Defended well on Thursday night. Their defence can be got at and looks shaky. Bring on Thursday night. Gav, book your flights to Oslo if you want, but
you could book your accommodation with free cancellation, Gav, if you want.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be booking flights at the moment. We've seen this story far too many times. We hope it's going to be different, but you know how it ends if you book your flights to Oslo now. Jake Nicholson, again in the same sort of vein, says, who's excited for Norway with a winky face?
That would be good.
You might be, because you might be going.
Yeah, well, if the stars align, then yeah, I could potentially be there, which would be great.
And just to wrap us up, Spot says, any players you think we should be trying to bring in? And me and Craig kind of had this discussion last week, and whether it's realistic or not to speculate on players that maybe haven't been linked. But it would have been nice if we'd got someone like Porteous in, should one of the centre halves leave, or obviously someone like Triantis, if that doesn't happen. But other than that, I don't know if we need much more in terms of reinforcements.
Yeah, I think the squad, and considering what part of the season that we're already at and what part of the transfer window we're already at, I think now it would just be a case of, if anyone leaves that are in David Gray's first team plans, then they'll just be replaced in some form, whether it be a loan via Bournemouth or whether it be a permanent sign-in. If like Lewis Miller were to leave, obviously if Lewis was to leave, I would like to think that Canayo would get a good run in the squad, and I would like to see him start against Dundee as well, and give him a good run of games. But unless we are losing someone unexpectedly, unless there's an injury between now and the transfer window closing, I can't see us bringing in too many more. If not, I think we might bring in one and bolster up the squad. But then obviously if we then get group stage football, you might see 2 or 3 loans then might come in.
I think that we'll probably add 2. I think we'll get 2. And that's maybe another attacker, but maybe not someone who's just focused on through the middle. I don't know. I don't know, but I think one for definite. Hopefully 2.
Depends if Ewan leaves as
if
well.
If we didn't get anyone, I don't think it would be a travesty. To be honest,
I agree.
But I don't think that's going to happen. Club have got a plan. And that wraps us up.
Wow.
Shaun, your first ramble of 25-26. How's it feel?
It feels good to get the monkey off the back and be back
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
for so much more.
Now, will we do a pod between Thursday and Sunday? Maybe not.
Maybe if we go through out of just sheer enjoyment.
Yeah, maybe if we go through, yeah. Maybe you can do a live watch along by yourself in the house.
But then what if I then need to leave? I'm just going to leave it running and just people can watch that empty couch.
Just
Don't think that's going to
with a
work.
commentary in the background.
Yeah. Every so often you'll just see one of my cats walk past the couch and maybe sit where the camera is, and then people are just watching one of my cats sleep.
I think people would like it, to be honest, mate.
Probably get more views, to be fair.
Maybe. Don't put yourself down like that, though.
Never. Impossible to do.
But it's been a good episode.
Yes.
I've enjoyed it, mate.
Yes.
I've enjoyed it.
Glad you're not rough anymore. And you're ready to do it
I
all
mean-
over again on Thursday.
Still a little bit in recovery. I have said that I'm off the drink now. I'm off the drink for a while. I need to detox
Rest
the
in
body.
peace, Hulk Hogan.
That as well. That's another thing. That was the worst part of my trip, to be honest. Hulk Hogan dying. Did you like the tweet that I put out and I said that everyone at the Hibs Ramble is devastated to hear the passing of Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
And put a black and white picture of him.
Yeah. Spelled Hulk wrong. Yeah.
I didn't realise that until the following day.
Yeah.
Me and Mark were saying that on Thursday the players shouldn't wear black armbands, they should wear yellow headbands.
With the yellow strip.
Yeah. Oh. Well, that seems like a good place to wrap up. So if you've got this far, thank you so much for listening. And if you don't already, get us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, all the rest of it. If we're on there, we are at the Hibs Ramble. Don't forget, we've got those bucket hats on their way, hopefully in the next few days or so. So if you like the look of them and you'd like to get one, then just get in touch with the page and we'll sort you out. Like we said earlier, they're in very, very limited supply. So if you want one, be quick, basically, or they'll probably sell out. I don't think there's anything else for me to cover, apart from thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week. See you later.
Let's get ready to rumble.